Hi everyone, today I want to talk through many of the fancy goldfish varieties that exist. I personally keep several Oranda goldfish, but have been curious about branching to others. So I want to make a video going through many of the options I've found when researching myself. I broke it into 20 main varieties, but within each there are usually different color, pattern, and fin options, so I'll discuss those too. Anyway, let's get into the list. Number 1. The Fantail goldfish. So this goldfish is on the simple side of fancy goldfish. They have a split tail fin. It's divided into two lobes that often fan out horizontally, and the tail fin is broad and can have a rounded or square shape. Other fancy goldfish often take on this fantail quality. On average, they get to 6 to 8 inches, and there can be many variations in color and pattern, but orange often being most common. They're a very common type, and they'll generally be found pretty cheap, usually under $30 unless they're very large. Number 2, the Ryukin goldfish. So they have a deep arched back and a shorter, stockier appearance, often described as having a humpbacked or hunchback body. They have a prominent dorsal fin which stands erect on their back. Again, they get to about 6 to 8 inches, but 10 inches is definitely possible. They come in all sorts of colors and patterns, so you can really shop for one that catches your eye. They also are very common, and I'd say they're on the cheaper side, but depending on the size and pattern, they can get more expensive. Usually you can find smaller ones under $30 and under $100 for large, but they can get pricier if you get really distinct patterns. Number 3, the Oranda goldfish. So this is a goldfish I've kept myself personally. They are known by the presence of a fleshy growth, also called a wen, on top of their head. This almost looks like a giant brain on top of their head, and it can really vary in size and shape. I've personally loved the ones that have really large wens, although they can be harder to care for as they're more likely to get injured or be prone to infection. Their average size to get to is between 7 inches to 9 inches, and there's many colors and subbreeds based on tails, wen, and body shape. Again, they are very common, but the price really depends on colors and traits. Get small, simple pattern ones for only a few dollars, but large show quality ones can go for $100 to even $300. Number 4, the Ranchu. This fish has a distinctive egg-shaped round body with a deep, compact, slightly elongated appearance. They lack a dorsal fin, which means they have no fin on their back. They can have head growth as well, known as a wen or crown. Sometimes this can be small or even not noticeable. On average, they get to between 5 inches to 8 inches, and variations, color, and pattern can be very wide and very vast. They are very common, and like the Oranda, the price depends on the colors and traits. You can get small, simple pattern ones for only a few dollars, but large show quality ones can also go for $100 to even $300. Number 5, the Lionchu. So this is a combination of the Ranchu and Lionhead goldfish. We'll talk about the Lionhead goldfish right after this. Basically, they look like a Ranchu with an Oranda-like head, so they're going to have a larger wen, a larger head growth. They have a round, compact body, and they typically do not have a dorsal fin. On average, they get to about 6 inches, and again, the color of them can really vary, and the head growth can also vary. They tend to be pretty rare, and online is probably your best bet for finding them. And I would say to keep in mind that some ranchus have wens, and when the ranchus do, they can really be very close, and species labeling can be tricky, so you might have to be open-minded to buying one that's labeled a Ranchu that also looks like a Lionchu, and they kind of can be interchangeable in my opinion. The Lionhead goldfish. So this is very similar to a Ranchu, often confused or even mislabeled as them. They have an egg-shaped body and a wen. The difference here is that they have a flat back. Here you can see a sketch showing the differences. They do seem to be a species more common in the past. Ranchus or even Lionchus are much more common today. On average, you'll see them get to 5 to 8 inches, but 10 inches is definitely possible. And again, they can be all sorts of colors and patterns. I've seen them online and carrier guides report as common, but I've never seen one in the US. I honestly think in the US they're more commonly referred to as Ranchus or Lionchus. So you might be able to find one, but you also might have to shop for a Ranchu or Lionchu if you're interested in a species like this. Overall, they're not too expensive. You can probably get small ones for under $15 and large ones for under $50 unless they have very distinct patterns. Number 7, the Shukin goldfish. So they have a round and compact body and a striking and beautiful like tail fin. This tail fin resembles wings on a butterfly or like the tail on a fantail goldfish. They are also known as the long-tail Ranchu, and it's a very simple description for them. I found limited data on their size, but it's likely going to be about 6 to 8 inches. And again, variations can be quite vast and they can be in all sorts of colors. I did find them very rare, and I really couldn't find any listings to get a gauge for price. They seem like a species that was more popular in the past and has kind of faded off. Number 8, telescope goldfish. They are also known as the demikin or dragon eye. They have protruding telescope-like eyes, and the eyes can be spherical or conical in shape. It gives the fish an appearance of having dragon or telescope-like eyes, hence their names. On average, they'll get to between 5 inches and 8 inches, and they can have all sorts of colors and patterns. They tend to be uncommon, not as common as some of the previous ones we mentioned, but not incredibly rare. They should be easy to find online, and they're not too expensive, but again, it does depend on the color and size. Usually small ones will be under $40 and large ones will be under $100. Number 9, the black Moor. So this is an all black variant of the telescope. I think it's worth listing as a separate species because it often is labeled by black Moor and not telescope. It is a very popular species. I would say it's pretty common and not too expensive. I often see these in stores. The size to get to is the same as the telescope, and there is really only one variation, although the amount of black could vary a little bit. Number 10, the butterfly telescope, also known as the butterfly Moor or the butterfly tail goldfish. So this is a variant of the telescope goldfish, but it has a unique tail and is bred to be viewed from above. And so this also typically has the protruding telescope-like eyes of a telescope goldfish, but you have that very distinct butterfly-shaped tail. Again, it gets to about the same size, 5 to 8 inches, and it can be in a variety of colors, although if it is all black, you'll probably see it labeled as a black Moor. It's uncommon in stores, but pretty easy to find online, about the same price as the original telescope goldfish. Number 11, celestial eye goldfish, also known as the stargazer goldfish or the demi Ranchu. So it has celestial looking upward facing eyes. The eyes are turned upward and appear to be gazing at the sky. The eye placement gives them their celestial or stargazing appearance and names. They also can look very cartoonish in my opinion. They get to about 5 inches. There are many possible variations of colors, but I really see them most common in orange. They're pretty rare in my experience, and I can't say I've ever seen one in person, but you'll definitely find them online. They tend to be on the cheaper side, usually under $30 small and under $50 for larger ones. Number 12, the bubble eye goldfish, also known as the water bubble eye. So they have fluid-filled sacs or bubbles beneath their eyes. They require special care considerations because the bubbles are especially prone to injury and popping. They get to about 5 inches and they can be in many colors and patterns. I'd say they are uncommon. I have seen them in stores personally several times, and again, they're not too expensive, probably under $40 for small ones and under $100 for larger ones. Number 13, the Pearlscale goldfish. They have quite a few alternative names like the ping pong goldfish or golf ball goldfish. They also have a variation called the crown Pearlscale, which has a bubble on their head. So they are egg-shaped and they almost look swollen. They have a unique scale pattern, small pearl-like scales covering their entire bodies, and the pearling effect that I just described is highly sought after by enthusiasts. On average, they get to 6 to 8 inches, and they do have many variations, but orange and white seems to be the most common. They can have variations on their head. They can have the bubble, making them a crown version, or they can have wens. I find them pretty common, but some types like the crown are hard to find, and it does depend on the type for the price, but I generally find them to be about medium, with being small ones under $30 and large ones under $100. Number 14, the Pompom goldfish, also known as the Hanafusa. So they have prominent pom-pom-like growths or nasal bouquets on their snouts. They kind of look like cheerleader pom-poms, hence their name. They have a body type similar to a lionhead with an arched back. Size to get to on average is 4 to 6 inches, For variations, chocolate is the most common, which is like a metallic brown. Many other colors are possible, and this trait of the pom-poms can be on other varieties like the Oranda. I find them uncommon, but I have seen them a few times. They tend to be inexpensive, with small being under $30 and large being under $50. Number 15, the Tamasaba, also known as the Sabao goldfish. They have an elongated and streamlined body shape, with a single long, elegant tail fin, an upright dorsal fin that adds to their streamlined appearance, and they do have a downward-facing mouth that makes them unique. For variations, orange and white seem to be the most common, but others can exist. They tend to be rare, and you're likely only going to find them online. I personally had a hard time even finding online listings, but it seems like on average you'll find them from $50 to $100. Number 16, the Tosakin. They have a rounded symmetrical body that is slightly elongated and compressed from the sides, a split tail fin, which resembles a double fan or butterfly, a pronounced high arching back, similar to a Ryukin. On average, they get to 6 inches. Orange and white tends to be the most common for their colors, but others can exist. They are very rare, even online, and I had a hard time finding listings. Number 17, the Jikin goldfish, also known as the peacock tail. They have a very specific appearance, all white with red fins and gills. They have a little bit of a different body shape from most fancy goldfish, with it being slender and elongated. Their body shape is closer to one of the pond type goldfish that are faster swimming. The tail fin is divided into several branches, creating a fan-like or peacock tail appearance. They get to about 6 to 9 inches on average, and usually are white with some red and orange on the fins and gills. They tend to be rare, but you can find them in stores occasionally, and large ones do get expensive. 5-inch ones or less are probably only between $25 to $100, but when you get over 5 inches, they can easily get up to $300. Number 18, the Wakin goldfish, also known as the Japanese Wakin or the comet-tailed goldfish. They're known for their active swimming behavior and attractive appearance. They have a streamlined, elongated body which resembles a common goldfish or koi, and their tail fin resembles a comet's tail. 10 to 12 inches seems to be common for their size, but if you keep them in a large pond, 18 inches is definitely possible. And they're usually white with a bright orange pattern. They're uncommon, easy to find online. The online listings look relatively cheap, with under $30 for small ones, and not many listings seen for larger ones to give a price. Number 19, the Watonai goldfish. They are a unique and lesser known variety. They combine the attributes of a Ryukin and Wakin goldfish. The body is not as round as a Ryukin goldfish, but not as elongated as a Wakin. They have a double tail fin, which is often short, slightly forked, and not as deeply lobed as the tail of a Ryukin. And they may have paired anal fins similar to a Wakin goldfish. On average, they'll be 10 to 12 inches, with many variations in color. They are rare, and you'll likely have to get them online, and usually going to be several $100s. And number 20, the last one, is the Shubunkin goldfish. So this one could be considered a pond goldfish, but it does have a lot of fancy features, so I decided to include it on this list. It has a streamlined and elongated body shape, with the most distinguishing feature of a Shubunkin goldfish being the coloration, which is usually a calico pattern. They have a single tail fin that can be deeply forked, creating a unique and elegant appearance. If you keep them in a tank, they often get to about 6 inches, but can easily get to 12 to 14 inches in a large pond. For variations, they can have many different colors, but they usually do have a calico pattern, and they tend to be pretty common, with small ones being easily found under $10 and larger ones going for $30 to $60. That does wrap up the 20 types of fancy goldfish that you should know about. I know I couldn't cover all types that exist, so let me know what others you would add to the list personally. And anyway, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see everyone in the next video.